Hi, and welcome to the My SG Prop podcast, where we explore smart property investing and uncover insights from Singapore to the region. I'm Rainey, and joining me today is CS. We're diving into a topic that's always buzzing in the Singapore property scene: leasehold versus freehold properties. We're going to break it down with details, tips, examples, and maybe even a case study or two.
Hey Rainey, glad to be here. And you're right, this is a big one. Everyone asks about this, whether they're first-time buyers or seasoned investors. I'm CS, by the way.
Okay, CS. So let's start with the basics. What's the actual difference? I mean, aren't they both just property?
Chuckles. Well, Rainey, technically yes, but legally, they're worlds apart. Think of it like this. Freehold is like owning something outright, forever and ever. Amen. Leasehold, on the other hand, is like renting the land from the government for a specific period, usually 99 years, or sometimes even less.
Renting for 99 years? That sounds permanent-ish? So why does it even matter? If I'm dead and gone, what's the diff?
But it matters to your kids and their kids, and anyone who might want to sell the property down the line. The big difference is in value appreciation and what happens at the end of the lease.
Okay, let's say I buy a 99-year leasehold condo today. What happens in, 80 years? Do I get kicked out?
Not kicked out exactly, but the value of your property starts to decline more rapidly as the lease runs down. Banks become less willing to give out loans for properties with short leases, which affects the pool of potential buyers and brings the price down.
Ouch! So it's like a ticking time bomb. But surely there's some upside to leasehold, right? It can't be all doom and gloom.
Absolutely. Leasehold properties are generally more affordable than freehold ones. You get more bang for your buck, so you might be able to afford a bigger space or a better location than you would if you were only looking at freehold options.
Okay, that makes sense. So you're saying I can get a swanky condo in a prime area even if it's leasehold, instead of a tiny freehold shoebox somewhere far away?
Exactly. It's a trade-off. It really depends on your priorities and financial goals. Are you looking for long-term legacy planning, or are you focused on maximizing your immediate living situation and potential rental income?
Good question. So how do you decide? I mean, is there a magic formula or something?
No magic formula, Rainey, but there are things to consider. Firstly, think about your investment horizon. How long do you plan to stay in the property? If it's just for a few years, the lease decay might not be a huge issue.
Makes sense. What else?
Look at the location and potential for redevelopment. Is the area likely to be redeveloped by the government in the future? If so, you might get some compensation when the lease runs out, although that's never a guarantee.
Redevelopment? Like they just take your property back and give you some cash? That sounds scary.
Chuckles. It can sound scary, but it's usually done to improve the area, and the compensation is usually fair, though of course there can be disputes. But let me stop you there for a moment. We're getting a bit ahead of ourselves talking about end-of-lease scenarios. The more immediate concern is the impact on resale value.
Okay, so resale value, what's the deal?
A property's value is also heavily influenced by the remaining lease years. Once a lease drops below, say, 60 years, it becomes significantly harder to sell and the price takes a hit. People worry about getting a mortgage, and that shrinks the potential buyer pool.
Okay, that makes sense. So you're saying I need to keep an eye on the lease and plan my exit strategy way in advance?
Precisely. It's all about timing. Buy at the right price, enjoy the property while you can, and sell before the lease gets too short.
Got it. So freehold is like a safe long-term investment, while leasehold is more of a calculated risk?
That's a good way to put it. Freehold generally holds its value better over the long term and is easier to pass down to future generations. But it comes at a premium.
Speaking of premiums, are there any hidden costs or things people often overlook when choosing between the two?
Definitely. With leasehold, you need to factor in the potential cost of extending the lease, should the government allow it. It's not always guaranteed, and it can be expensive. Also, management fees can sometimes be higher for older leasehold properties, as they may require more maintenance.
The dreaded management fees. I swear, those things can eat into your rental income.
Tell me about it. And with freehold, you might face higher property taxes, since the assessed value is usually higher. So it's important to do your homework and factor in all these costs when making your decision.
Okay, so do your sums, consider your goals, and don't forget about the management fees. Got it. So, CS, let's say someone is really torn. Is there a general rule of thumb you'd give them?
Well, if you're looking for stability and long-term security, and you can afford it, freehold is generally the safer bet. But if you're on a tighter budget and are willing to take on a bit more risk, leasehold can be a great way to get into a desirable location or a larger property.
So it is really depend on individual situation. Got it. So I have another question. What if a freehold property comes up in an area slated for major development? Does that make it a no-brainer investment?
Not necessarily a no-brainer, but it certainly sweetens the deal. Infrastructure improvements, new amenities, and better transportation links usually drive up property values, regardless of tenure. But you still need to consider the specific development plans and their potential impact on the property.
Impact in what way?
Well, construction noise, increased traffic, or even the loss of green spaces could temporarily affect the quality of life and rental income. But long-term, it's usually a net positive.
Okay, so it's all about weighing the pros and cons and doing your research. Got it.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to talk to a property agent or financial advisor for personalized advice. They can help you assess your situation and make the best decision for your needs.
Great advice, CS. Thanks for shedding some light on this often confusing topic. I think I understand the leasehold versus freehold debate a lot better now.
My pleasure, Rainey. It's all about understanding the trade-offs and making informed decisions.
That's all for today's podcast from MySG Prop. I hope you picked up something useful for your next property move. Don't forget to follow or share this episode with someone who's into real estate too. More insights and new launch updates await you at mysgprop.com. Catch you next time.